Madame Koi Koi, the full story. They said she was once beautiful, a woman who turned heads whenever she walked through town. Her name was Madame Koi Koi, and everyone recognized her by the sound of her shoes, two glossy, red heels that clicked sharply on the floor. Koi, koi, koi. The sound echoed like a heartbeat in the long corridors of the boarding school where she taught. Madame Koi Koi wasn't old, but the years had hardened her. The students whispered that she had been betrayed once, that a man had broken her heart and left her bitter. Whatever the reason, kindness had long left her face. She taught English and manners, yet her own manners were cruel. Her voice could slice through a classroom like a whip. "Eyes forward! No talking! You call this handwriting?" she would snap, slamming a ruler on a desk. The red heels followed her everywhere. Koi, koi, koi. Each step carrying authority and anger. Some children cried quietly when she passed. Others held their breath and prayed she wouldn't call their names. Every teacher feared losing control, but Madame Koi Koi enjoyed control. She liked to hum while inspecting the dorms, her bracelets jingling as she opened lockers, searching for rule breakers. When she found dust or a hidden snack, she'd make the students scrub the floor till their fingers hurt. Her laughter was sharp, humorless. But beneath her cruelty was vanity. She adored her jewelry, rings that glittered like tiny suns, necklaces that glowed against her dark dresses. During morning assembly, she would stand under the light, tilting her head to let the gems sparkle. Some students wondered if she cared more about the shine than about teaching at all. That year, the boarding school was filled with unrest. Food was scarce, classes long, and Madame Koi Koi's punishments endless. A group of older students decided they had had enough. It started as a joke whispered in the dorm. What if Madame Koi Koi disappeared? But jokes can turn into plans when anger festers. One of them, a clever boy named Tumde, forged letters for fun. He was the one who wrote it, a letter pretending to be from a wealthy collector. It said that a fortune in gold and diamonds was hidden in the forest of no return, left behind by traders decades ago. The writer offered Madame Koi Koi a share if she helped recover it. They drew a crude map and sealed it with candle wax. When she received the letter, she smiled for the first time in months. The students watching her didn't understand the chill that ran down their spines. She clutched the letter close, her bracelets rattling softly, and said to no one in particular, "Some of us deserve better than this miserable school." That night, clouds covered the moon. Madame Koi Koi put on her finest white shawl and her red shoes. She walked past the living dorms, heels striking stone. Koi, 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 and left through the back gate. She followed the map's crooked line toward the forest. The forest of no return had earned its name generations before. Hunters went in and never came out. The trees were tall and twisted, the air thick with mist that swallowed sound. Even the crickets were silent there. She hesitated only once, then whispered, "For gold, nothing is too far," and stepped inside. By morning, she was gone. The headmaster searched, the police searched, but there was nothing. No footprints, no body. only one red shoe lying at the forest's edge, gleaming wet with dew. The students stared at it in horror. Some wanted to confess, others stayed silent. Eventually, the teachers stopped talking about her, and the term went on. But guilt is a seed that grows in darkness. Weeks later, strange things began to happen. At night, the dorm lights flickered. Doors creaked, though no wind blew. Students started hearing footsteps in empty corridors, slow, deliberate, dragging. Coy, 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 coy. The first to vanish was Tunde, the boy who wrote the letter. His roommate said he woke up to the sound of heels and laughter, soft, broken laughter that came from under the bed. He turned on his flashlight and saw nothing, except a single red shoe print near the window. By dawn, Tunde's bed was neatly made, his book stacked, his suitcase gone. The school called it a runaway. Then it happened again. Another student, one of the boys who had drawn the fake map, began screaming in his sleep. When his friends rushed to him, he was clawing at his neck, whispering, "She's here. She's wearing the shoe." His eyes rolled back, and he fell silent forever. The remaining plotters tried to pray. They burned incense, called pastors, even sprinkled salt around their bunks. Nothing stopped the sound. Coy, 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 coy. Each time it came closer, slower, like a wounded step echoing through the halls. The air would turn cold. The smell of damp earth filled the dorm, as if the forest itself was creeping in. Sometimes they glimpsed her in mirrors, pale face, cracked lips painted red, eyes like polished glass. The white shawl floated as if under water, and the single shoe struck the ground with rage. One night, a storm tore through the town. Thunder rolled across the hills and lightning flashed over the school. A girl named Ife, who had always been kind to Madame Koi Koi, woke up to the sound of someone crying outside. Against her friend's warnings, she went to the hallway. The sound of weeping grew louder, mixed with the familiar koi, koi rhythm. At the end of the corridor stood a figure, white shawl, one red shoe, the other foot bare, bleeding. The woman's face was hidden, her shoulders shaking as she cried. "I didn't hurt you," Ife whispered. "Please, I didn't." The figure turned slowly. Her eyes were hollow. "They lied," she said, voice echoing like wind through an empty grave. "They lied to me." Then Madame Koi Koi smiled, and all the lights went out. When morning came, Ife was found at her desk, head resting gently on her notebook as if she had fallen asleep. But her hair had turned completely white. The school finally shut down. Parents took their children away, claiming curses and spirits. The building was abandoned, swallowed by vines and silence. Yet travelers passing that road still report the same thing. At night, near the old gate, they hear footsteps. Koi, koi, koi. Some say she walks with the wind, searching for her lost shoe. Others say she guards the forest, luring greedy souls the way she was lured. A few believe she finds peace only when the last of those who mocked her bloodline are gone. Years later, a construction company bought the land to build a new hostel. Workers laughed at the ghost stories, until one morning when the foreman arrived and found their tools scattered, the ground covered with small red footprints. The security camera showed nothing but flickering static, and faintly, behind the noise, the rhythmic echo. Koi, koi, koi. Even today, if you visit that part of town and stand near the trees after midnight, the forest seems to breathe. Listen closely. You might hear soft crying. And if you hear footsteps that don't belong to you, run. Because Madame Koi Koi doesn't forgive. She doesn't forget. And she always finds her way back. Koi, koi, koi.